All right, guys, it's time to talk about Sony Interactive again. Now, the reason why we're going to talk about Sony Interactive is because this conversation from this article is spanning a topic of conversation that I really want to touch on, and I try to touch on as much as I can as we talk about the typical DEI stuff that's happening in gaming and whatnot. And that is just overall corporate greed. And on top of that, too, the obsession that these studios have with live service games. Now, as you guys are aware, I'm heavily against most live service games. I feel like at this point, it's a heavily saturated market that just doesn't have that many players to go around. There's no reason why people are going to want to invest in 5, 6, 7 live actions, live service games. It's just not, that's not something that's going to be able to happen. And yet these studios continue to double down and triple down in the hopes to be the next Fortnite. And they're willing to ruin what could have been a great single player experience for gamers. But instead, they want to make it into a live service game in the hopes to try to monetize you for every dollar and every dime that you're worth.
Goblo, where's my Goblo?
Yes, my lord, how may I serve you?
Well, I was just wondering how our new live service game is going.
Well, for the 9 months it's been out, we've done exactly 1 quality of life update, but we have updated the store 78 times with new things to buy.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear the game's in such a good state.
Though, my lord, might I suggest we take some of the crazy amount of money we've accumulated and add some meaningful gameplay updates like we promised?
So we have an article here from Phantom Pulse with a headline that reads, Sony Interactive CEO says that the company plans to grow our live service segment despite the failure of Concord, which was one of the biggest failures in gaming in history, especially considering a live service game, by the way. It was one of the biggest failures in history, and yet they want to double down in the hopes to create the next Fortnite. That's really what it is. They are chasing the ability to get that money that Fortnite has reliably had for I don't even know how long now, but they ignore what made Fortnite so good in the first place, and they ignore the fact that Fortnite came out and dominated the market and kept it at the time where it wasn't nowhere near as saturated as it is now. So let's get into this article, guys, from Phantom Post. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Sony Interactive CEO Herman Hulst doubled down on the company's goal. By the way, isn't Herman the guy? Wait, Herman is the guy who advocated and really was the one who pushed for the purchase and the sale of Concord? Wasn't he the reason why that whole thing went through? Why exactly are we listening to him again? Why? This just doesn't make any sense. CEO Herman Hulst doubled down on the company's goals to grow its live service segment, despite the failure of a number of live service games this year, including Sony's own Concord and Warner Brothers' Multiverses and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. In an interview with Japanese website Famitsu, Hulst was asked, how do you evaluate the recent achievements of PlayStation Studios and its current structure? A part of his answer was that he stated, we also continue to grow our live services segment, and Helldivers 2 has been a great success. In building a strong portfolio, the studio business group focuses on a rigorous selection of games that offers players a great experience. We are also focused on expanding our IP in new areas, such as the film version of Ghost of Tsushima, which is being produced by PlayStation Productions. Guys, seriously. I get it, okay? I totally get it. They look at these games like Fortnite and they see dollar signs, right? And I cannot necessarily blame them, right, for seeing that. But you guys got to stop this shit. You really do. You should be focusing on making great single-player experiences. I feel like that's what PlayStation is really known for, or used to be known for anyway. And if you make really great single-player experiences, you'll realize very quickly that you're gonna get a ton of money from this stuff. The gamers are gonna run in and they're gonna flood, and they're dying for good single-player experiences. They really are. Now, granted, as long as you actually give them what they want, right? Because you can make single-player games and not give them anything that they want, and then guess what? That's going to flop too. So I understand the risk, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, as long as we can convince a couple of whales to join us in our live service game, they'll give us all the money we need, and we could just milk them over and over and over again. It's ridiculous, man. We need to stop this shit. Holtz was then asked a follow-up specifically about Concord and Firewalk Studios and whether its failure affected its live service and mobile game strategies. On the other hand, Concord was discontinued in about 2 weeks, and the closure of 2 studios, Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios, was announced. As the corona disaster settles down, I assume that the game's business is undergoing rapid... I like how they're still blaming all this on COVID-19. Like they're blaming all of this on the pandemic still. It's insane. Like how long are you going to remove accountability from you people? Seriously, how long are you going to remove accountability from you people and continue to blame the pandemic from 2019? How long are you going to do this for? It's ridiculous that you think people actually believe you, right? Do your investors believe you? When the games fail, you're like, well, COVID-19, it's just rough. Like, what? You serious right now? Come on, man. Like, we need to stop blaming this shit. Anyway, it says that as it settles down, I assume the game business is undergoing rapid changes. Are there any changes in your strategy for live service games and mobile games as a result of these studio closures? He then responded, the game business is constantly changing due to a variety of factors, including technological advances, new genres, and new ways of playing games. The one thing that has not changed, however, is people's desire for a great entertainment experience, and the focus on games continues to grow. So if people are looking for a great entertainment experience, why are you so busy trying to give them a message instead of actually giving them a great entertainment experience? Make that make sense, right? If you really know this information, which I'm sure you do, and you really have the analytics to push you in that direction, then why do you continue to make video games that are inherently anti-consumer? Why do you continue to make video games that are inherently anti-gamer? Why do you continue to do all this shit, right? Helldivers 2 is a fairly successful game. There's no doubt about it. And that could be considered a live service game, obviously. I mean, it's nowhere near as successful as it was a few months ago, but still, it's got plenty of players that they can monetize and obviously, utilize and whatnot. But that's only going to happen once or maybe if you're lucky twice in a decade. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be able to have multiple live service games with hundreds of thousands of players all under your flag. Like that's not going to happen. There's not enough people who are into the live service style of game to go around. They already have games that they're not leaving, right? Most of them are not leaving Fortnite. And the beautiful thing about Helldivers is that you could play in pretty short increments and not really be too dedicated to it. Whereas, the other live service games, they want you to kind of grind it out for the most part and be ultra dedicated to it. So it just depends, right? If you're going for something that's more pick up and play, but that happens to be live service, then maybe you'll have something. But if you're going for something that has a battle pass, you got to grind out 100 levels, you only got 3 months to do it, and otherwise you miss content. Yeah, there's only so many players that really want to do that that's going to be around to do it. Then, further, Holtz noted that Sony and PlayStation will continue to release live service games across multiple platforms rather than making them exclusive. Holtz stated since live service titles are released on multiple platforms, the key to success is how to attract new players and increase the number of players. Therefore, maintaining momentum at the time of release and broad player adoption are especially important in the live service sector. Single-player games are a key component of the PlayStation platform's appeal, and each title has a strategic sales period, he explained. While consoles remain our core business, expanding to PC and other platforms will allow us to bring our games to a wider audience. Our priority is always to provide the best possible experience for our players, and as part of that, we are also promoting the integration of PSN accounts on PC. Oh no, you had to end on that note. This man with the audacity, he's like, we always try to provide the best experience possible, which is why we want you to sync your Steam accounts, your valuable Steam accounts, to one of the most hacked networks in existence called PlayStation Network. Yeah, that's clearly the smart thing to do. This is the reason why I don't play Sony games on PC. I just don't, because I don't want to link my Steam account to PSN. And you people out there could say, oh, you're just complaining, you're whining, whatever. I don't give a shit. My Steam account's way more valuable than anything on PSN. I don't care. I'm good. I don't have to have a Sony game. I don't have to play a Sony game. I'm okay. I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, the main reason I wanted to bring this conversation up is because it really is ridiculous. Their constant desire and their obsession with live service games. When we have seen prime examples of single player games that have given players what they wanted. Massively succeeding, right? Massively succeeding well past anything a live service game can do usually, right? Look at Black Myth Wukong. The amount of money that Black Myth Wukong made was disgusting. Look at Space Marine 2. The amount of money Space Marine 2 made was disgusting, right? And they're all single-player games with the exception of Space Marine, which has a multiplayer mode, but ultimately it is a single-player game through and through from beginning to end. And you can experience it as such and never play multiplayer ever, right? So giving you that option is fine, but requiring you to play online, that's something totally different. In order to progress and whatnot, it's totally different. Imagine you had to play online in order to progress your story mode in Space Marine 2. It'll be totally different. It wouldn't be the same. So we need to stop this obsession with live service games because too many of them are failing. And I don't know why people are listening to freaking Halt when this guy is the reason why Concord was even purchased and went through in the first place. And look at it now. Completely dead. One of the biggest failures in gaming history. And we're listening to this guy again? Yeah, I don't really know if that's a smart idea. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.